What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over why you shouldn't wear clothing in Souls and Souls-like games. That sounds kind of weird. Let me get into it and I'll explain. There's been this recent popularity uptaking in not wearing clothing for your character in Souls and Souls-like games. For example, let me solo her. A lot of people, and myself included, think, well, if you know the movesets and you understand the character, you don't really need clothing in order to fight said character. You can get the dodging time down correctly, you can understand the movements of the character, and you already have your buffs attached. It really doesn't matter in the long run if you wear clothing. It's actually the only reason why I would recommend clothing to begin with at all in any Souls or Souls-like is if you are completely new to the genre or new to the game itself. Or hell, if you just feel like it. I know that there are so many runs that I've seen so many different types of pieces of clothing that are meant for specific boss battles that have fire damage, poison damage, even magic damage. There's a really great example of that for Bloodborne whenever you have certain pieces of garb that are meant specifically to ward off lightning or damage or certain bolts of fire. So it's definitely worth looking into, again, if you are new or you just want to be able to have an easier time with the boss battle. You still have to know what you're doing in said boss battle, but it makes it a tiny bit easier to maneuver. One of the other biggest reasons why I don't think it's necessary to wear clothing in Souls-like games is because if you see the boss enough, if you practice it enough, if you get accustomed to it enough, you're already dodging its movesets correctly. It's similar to what I said at the start of the video. You're already dodging its movesets correctly. You're already in there enough to see, okay, it'll slam down at this point, it'll do this at that point, it'll do another movement at that point. So you don't really need to have any protection. Now, buffs for your weapons are different entirely. I feel like buffs for your weapons are more important than having clothing on. And in Dark Souls 2, there is a poison buff that you can add to your sword. That way it damages the character using poison. There's orbs that you can use to throw at the character that deal dark magic. There's so many things that you can utilize and pick up before said boss battle to make your character stronger, but also weaken the enemy and throw everything you have at it. Another reason could be for, environmental aspects, for arrows, giving you that a little bit of cushion against the arrow. But again, if you can dodge those easily, you can go against certain enemies. And if you know how to properly dodge them, if you've cleared out an area and fought them several times before, you won't really need to wear clothing much at all, except having buffs on your sword. Almost my entire run so far of Dark Souls has been, garbless. So whenever I go into a boss, you practice the movesets, you go in, you see, okay, well, it slams it here, it does this movement here, and it's really very simple. I mean, like the really positive aspect of not wearing clothing at all is you move a lot faster. You move a lot faster. You're not held down by kind of a weight limit. I think the only thing that's weighted is what you're carrying in your inventory and your sword. Plus, also get a ring that increases your movement, and not have any clothing on, you're going to be faster than the speed of any Dark Souls game. And this applies throughout every Souls and Souls-like that you can be garbless, mostly to Souls games, but to Souls-likes as well, because like I said, in Lords of the Fallen, you can be garbless. I'm going to use garbless because saying that you just don't have to wear clothing can be taken in so many different ways. But you guys, that was it for today's video. If you all like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every weekday here on YouTube. May you find your worth in the waking world, dear hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.